I'm utilizing my time to maximize my time into creativity. So we're working on new interesting stuff for the business and improving on self-learning and things like that. We're taking this the positive way, although it's hard, but we're trying to be as positive as possible.
Nice. Right. HERway show is an online talk series hosting women from around the world, from different industries with different backgrounds, who are willing to share their dreams, their fears, their challenges for other women and men and youth and everyone to get inspired and of course get more ideas. اليوم Kawthar, who does not know Kawthar, she is a strategic advisor and a serial entrepreneur who is also the founder of KBS Communication, 917 Sports, Fashion Fever UAE, and Masteria. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. And I'm so proud that you summarized my bio.
And today, Kawthar and I are switching seats because last time I saw Kawthar was, I was in her seat basically. So she was interviewing me on her two people talking.
Two people talking, yes.
Exactly.
Which is, Tima, was so much fun and it's going to come back soon. So I promise you, we will have you more on the show.
I can't wait. So this is what I summarized. But now, Kawthar, we want to know, how did you get to where you are today? What is your way?
Tima, we talked about this earlier today. I really wanted this to be an authentic conversation, and I wanted to really make sure that I send my message across clearly. You know, growing up, I grew up in a household with so many strong personalities. Either it's my father, my mother, my brother, my sisters, everyone was very strong in terms of personality. So I've learned early on that I have to know how to raise my voice and how to share my thoughts and how to how to send my message across. So it was very interesting and learning experience growing up with such a strong personalities to learn how to make sure that my voice is loud and clear. And this eventually led into my career and then led into my entrepreneurship journey. And I think it's very important to highlight the skill of making sure your voice is heard. And I think this is what made me who I am today, because I make it a point that my voice is always heard in any situation, in any environment, in any crisis or good time or bad time, that my voice is fully heard. And this is something I really, really encourage women to do. It's a very important skill to have.
I love how you emphasize about voice. And I really believe like a woman with a voice is a woman with a very strong tool in the society. But can you tell us more about how do you manage to not allow others' opinions instill in you and their fears?
It's very simple, but it's very complex when it comes to implementation. You have to focus on your goal. I know this sounds cliche. You might say that this is everyone's advice, but really when you have a goal, focus on your goal. Sometimes the people who love you the most are the noises. They have their noises in your business. So they are the worst when you start a business, let's say, or any new adventure in life. So you have to make sure how to, put a line between your goal and between the people who are there to interrupt. And I know it's not like you can't be in a situation where you basically push everyone away. You don't push people away, but you learn how to make them understand boundaries. And when you start a business, boundaries are very important. So I think it's going back to the idea of that it's not just the people you don't know that might come and like distract you. Sometimes it's the closest people and they do it without them knowing. So you have to really learn how to control that environment.
Amazing. Okay, given that you're in the business industry and mashallah, you're like running 4 multiple businesses and doing so much, can you tell us more about what's happening there?
Well, as an entrepreneur, I started myself in a very, very small business. And I'm very proud to say that throughout the years, I've grown this business and started multiple other businesses as well. At the current situation, people say that due to the pandemic, people are struggling, which is true. People are struggling. But I feel this is an opportunity for SMEs, startups, innovators, especially female in these areas, to kind of like really put their ideas forward and not to use the pandemic as as an obstacle, but use it as a time to experiment your idea, to test your idea, to go and like talk to people. People are having more time. People like me have more time to mentor people. So, you know, utilize these opportunities. So what I talk about the sector, especially the SME sector, there is a lot of hope, a lot of growth, although pandemic is happening, but a lot of focus, not just locally, but globally on the SME sector. So how can we as female entrepreneurs utilize these opportunities and not shy away, and not, you know, sit at home and say, oh, you know what, I can't go out, I can't do this and do that. We can do so many things. So yeah, the SME sector is booming, not as fast as we want it to be, but it's booming. And I think, you know, there's greater things coming very soon once this is all over.
I'm sure. That you say that the SME sector is booming, okay? In what sector do you see women growing, and in what sector do you see we need more women in?
You know, Tima, I always think about this, and I always advise my friends and, you know, like people I mentor or other entrepreneurs. I tell them, especially female entrepreneurs, you know, we always ask for things, and we want certain things, and we want some certain rights, but we have to be, you know, thriving at futuristic sectors. We have to be in sectors that people don't expect us to be in. You know, I'm talking about oil and gas. I know we have women in oil and gas, but I'm talking from a global perspective, not just the UAE, but like sectors like oil and gas, you know, energy sector, or sustainability, or any other sector. You know, I want women to start focusing on these sectors that are men dominated, because these sectors lack innovation, and they need women in order to be able to uplift and help with the innovation. And I know people might attack me for saying this, but there's no denial of having, you know, when you have more women in your business, innovation grows. And I think this is very important for young women who wants to go into business, to avoid crowded sectors, to avoid, let's say, the beauty industry or the fashion industry or the F&B industry. Not because they're bad, they're good industries, but it's crowded. Be innovative in your approach and start thinking bigger, and start thinking of growth, where you want to see yourself in the future, and how can you contribute to economy. So I think going into new sectors is very important for women, especially now as we speak. Okay.
So let's say somebody just graduated from school and going to university, a woman, and then let's say they're listening to us, or they might listen to the conversation later. What industries would you like tell them to consider? Like, I keep that follow their passion and what they love, but like, what is it that they should focus on when they're studying for them to avoid those crowded sectors and go on to the new ones?
You know, Tima, I wouldn't advise people to study specific things. You know, like, you don't have to, for example, you don't have to be you know, an accountant to invent something or come up with a business idea in accounting. What I'm saying, I want people to follow their passion, and they need to understand the needs of the market, and they have to understand short-term and long-term needs of the market, either locally or regionally or globally. And based on that, identify opportunities. I myself, when I started my business, or I worked with local international agencies throughout my government career. And that gave me an opportunity to identify what was lacking in the market. You know, so I would say young individuals should invest time and research, understanding what's lacking in the market, locally, globally, internationally. We have businesses who are booming, as let's say in India, but they're not Indian based. You know, so you have to really think of the needs of the market, and based on that, develop ideas, trial, test, try, test, fail, go on until you get to the point where you feel you're happy with it.
Okay. I love that sentence that you said, when woman joins any sector or industry, there's more innovation, there's more creativity, there's more, a lot of stuff. Okay. So can you tell me more about the leadership, like female leadership, because you're one of the top female leaders. What's going on in that space?
I mean, first of all, you know, for those people who, I don't want to be in a position where I talk on other people's behalf, but I will tell you one thing. If people say that women can be in a leadership role, I tell them, go back and think about it. Because your first ever female leader is at your home. She is your leader. She's your mother. And then that translates into other leadership roles outside. A lot of people say female leaders they're very emotional. Guess what? Emotions is needed when you lead a business, because you have to be people focused. If you are not a people focused, how can you lead? How can you lead either an organization of 5 people or organization of 10 people? You need to have emotions, you need to have understanding. And for me, I believe that female leaders why they innovate, because they always, it's in their nature, they always have to find solutions, they always have to think of alternatives. This is just, we're born with it, you know. And that's why if you look at organizations with, you know, female CEOs or female leaders or even board members, they thrive. And I think that's very important message to send. And I've started seeing a lot of focus, not just in the UAE, but on a global scale, on the role of women in innovation. And I think, you know, if someone is still thinking that women can't innovate, they're in the wrong place. So.
Nice. Okay. So tell us 3 main characters of a female leaders that would help her thrive in the industry in 2020.
There are many. You're asking me questions that
I'm limiting them.
Describing 3 answers. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'll give you some insights, and I'll be willing to share more insights. You need a leader that is people focused.
Okay.
Because you can't be a leader when you don't understand people. You know, and
Okay.
you're different type of people, different background, different personalities. That's, to me, one important element of a good leader, regardless female or male, is knowing how. It's like being a diplomat. You have to be a good diplomat to manage different people with different conflict and different relationships. So for me, that's one element. The second element will be flexibility. As a leader, you have to have flexibility, and you have to be able to adapt very quickly. You can't be that person that knows everything, because you don't know everything. And this is very important pillar, I believe, because a lot of companies fail because their leaders think they know everything, and they don't depend on the resources they have around them. Sometimes the person who might be the junior executive has a better leadership skills and insights and input than the CEO. So it's very important to be able to be flexible and more open-minded and adapt quickly to change.
And less autocratic.
I think, yeah. And I think another thing is you have to be thinking, as a leader, you have to focus on long-term and short-term, but long-term is the priority, because if you want to be successful and you want to have, you know, high profits, high revenues, and, you know, be maybe publicly listed company, you know, you need all these elements to come together to shape that leader, like take your team to the future. This is how I look at it. You know, what will take my business to the future is not me as a business owner or CEO. It's my team who will carry on my legacy. And I think it's very important to bring that to the table. So these are the quick tips, I would say, or pillars I normally judge people of. Like I meet a lot of senior individuals through my work. And to be honest, in a meeting, if I see someone not allowing, let's say, a team member for them to contribute, and it's always the big boss talking, I already have a red flag.
Okay.
Because for me, also in leadership, you have to be promoting diversity, and you have to be promoting inclusion, and you have to be promoting, you know, innovation. And these are basic stuff that comes to my mind.
Amazing. Those are really insightful character. Like, thank you. Okay. Type. Let's say hala, you are an entrepreneur with 4 businesses. Let's say hala, a woman wants to start a business. What would you advise her? Where about to go?
I would say, you know, regardless of her background, okay, she really needs to identify the opportunity per se, the business idea that she has. And she needs to make sure that she is willing to do that idea, to implement this idea for a month, for 5 years, and for 30 years. If she's willing to invest her time and energy and commit to it for that long time, then she should start with a business plan. And from a business plan, she needs to try and do a focus group, listen to people. Don't think you have a good idea and that's it. You know, you have to test it, and you have to be prepared to fail. And you have to be prepared to say, I really love this idea, but guess what? It does not work in reality. I gotta let it go, and I'm gonna think of something else. This doesn't define you as an individual. If you had to let an idea go after you've tested it and it didn't work, it shows courage. It shows that you tried something, you learned from it, and now you're going to the next big thing. And it's very important to promote that and to be flexible with it. And obviously there are certain things you learn about your own business as you start business licensing and all these things. And there are certain things you don't learn from university, and you don't learn from books. You only learn from practice. So I think these are things that, you know, women or men who are willing to, you know, go into this journey to think. I even tell people, you know, about a story. Tima, one time I was invited, I mean, I'm sure you noticed that I don't talk in many events. I'm very picky where I go and I speak for speaking opportunities. But I was fortunate enough to be invited by Mother of the Nation Festival in one of the years. And I was honored to meet this wonderful woman who came to me after my speech and told me, I'm 55 years old. I'm in a very bad relationship, like marriage. I feel down. I don't feel I contribute, and I don't have any skills. I don't have any education, but I want to start a business so I can be independent and I can take care of myself. And it touched me so much because this woman was hopeless. She was crying, Tima. She was crying after the event. And it touched me so much. And I said, you know what? This is my number. Please call me. I'll mentor you. We'll find your business for you. And time went by, and I made sure I helped her define her, you know, find her passion. And her passion was to be a makeup artist, but not the regular makeup artist, but cinematic makeup artist. So she could, you know, create, do things for movies and stuff like that. She took online courses, she did things, and now she has her own business. And I'm very proud of her. She had no skills, she had no education, she was in a very bad relationship, she had no support. And she made herself become a businesswoman. So if anyone is saying that we don't have the skills, we don't have anything, and we can't start a business, I will tell them think again, because I know people as well in Africa with like maybe $30 have started a business. So I think, you know, women can actually really roll the world if they are very innovative and creative in their approach.
If I want to sum up this is the meaning of woman supporting woman, like at its best. And I am really inspired. Let's talk more about the mentorship. So we announced on the stories before we go live last minute that you were going to choose one startup or a business idea. You're willing to look into it, and you're willing to take it up and mentor the man or woman. So, or youth can, and I'm sure youth have a lot of ideas as well. So can you tell us more about how does this work and how are you planning to do it? And by the way, for whoever is here or whoever is going to watch this later, I'm going to put Kawthar's account and all the details on how you can reach her.
So I'll tell you what I do. Normally every year I pick an entrepreneur or you know, an individual who has an idea but needs guidance, and I help them. This year, unfortunately, I did not get to the point where I'm looking into applications and people. And so the idea is that people submit their concepts, even if it's initial concepts. And for me, I'm not looking at the concept at this stage. I'm looking at the individual, the personality, their style of presenting, what they're really passionate about. Like, it has to be a sales pitch for me to be able to do it, to be honest, because I want to make sure that this is a person I'm going to be investing time in or I'll be wasting time in. It's very important. Once that selection process is done, what we do is we do sessions one-to-one. I usually meet with them once a month. In normal days, I meet with them once a month, and we go through ideas. We put, you know, tasks them to work on it, to come back to me, and you know, start, if they have an idea, we start helping them formulate their idea. And then sometimes we even help them raise money for their businesses. So if an idea is really, really attractive, I could invest in it, or I could bring on my friends, my other business leaders of our society who are investing in startups. So we bring them together and we invest in them. And I keep monitoring them even after they've started the business. I make sure I'm involved throughout the experience, see where they're going. I don't make decisions on their behalf, I guide them. So yeah, and it's fun for me because it just, it doesn't only remind me of my journey, how I started, but also makes me learn new things, because I see amazing ideas coming to me all the time, and it's fascinating to learn about something new. And yeah, so this is how it works. And then, you know, they get to talk to me over the phone or WhatsApp beside the meetings. Sometimes I go to some of their pitches to government entities or to investors, and I sit on those meetings to support, and also to show that, you know, as young business owners that have made it, it's our duty now to push others. And if I know, I don't, it's not arrogant, I'm not an arrogant person or anything, but I know if I'm in that meeting, people also take them very seriously. Because when I started, a lot of people did not take me seriously in the beginning. So I think it's good to push entrepreneurs through mentorship. And also, but I'm very picky with the type of entrepreneur. They have to be hardcore.
Exactly. So speaking about picky, this is the question I was coming to. What are the qualifications that you are looking for in the business idea and the person?
Business idea, it has to be unique, and it has to fulfill a need. This is very basic, very common. The second thing is the personality, and that the fact this person is willing and is open-minded to learn, and willing to put the work in, because there will be a lot of work. If I'm mentoring this individual, it's not going to be sit and have tea and coffee. There will be a lot of work. Yeah, there will be a lot of work, because I'm fast tracking their journey. And they have to appreciate the fact that I'm investing my time and my knowledge. So again, this is not me being arrogant, but that's truly, like, they have to understand, because they will go out in the market, and the market is not friendly. They have to be aggressive. So you have to shape them to go to the market strong.
Okay.
So this is my criteria. I don't, and by the way, I mentor all background, nationalities, small, big businesses, product-based or an actual service-based. Everyone is welcomed. Just work on your presentation. Make it really attractive, because I'm going to test you.
Cool. One more thing. We discussed about women investors. Tell me a little bit more about why everyone is looking for a female investor nowadays.
Honestly, I've started noticing between my group and my friends, and even globally, like a lot of, you know, business, like startups and idea creators, I call them idea creators, are now seeking female investors. And I think this is a very smart approach for so many reasons. One, given that a lot of people underestimate female investors, although we have very strong female investors in our society. And there's a lot of smart women in so many houses that people don't know about. And they're willing to invest in businesses and help people grow their ideas. So I think this is very important. And I've seen it a lot, and I've seen it firsthand around people that I'm involved with. Second thing is, female investors tend to be more flexible and tend to be more futuristic in the way they look at the vision of that business. And there's no denial that, you know, women don't just look at the numbers, although the numbers are very important. They also look at the individual and what else can they do with this individual. You know, can they really have them assessed in another business? If they're innovators, can they also invent something for this sector that they're invested in? They know how to make situations. And I think it's very smart of female investors. And the third thing is, women are businesswomen. You know, they want to do business, and they're not scared. They're not scared. They're not scared of failure, and, you know, or challenges or anything. So, but it's a good trend, Tima. It's a good trend.
It is, I'm sure. And I'm gonna look for an investor now.
Talk to me first.
So this brings us to the final question. What does woman empowerment means to you?
We talked about this theme as well, like in different occasions. I truly believe women empowerment is not a fancy word to use or something that's very trending. Me personally, I'm beyond that. I feel
Okay.
women empowerment should be on a grassroots level. Women empowerment is when we have a society that is, you know, built on equal opportunities, fairness, being a society that's realistic and society that's very well educated. You can't ask for empowerment for women or minority or for anyone if you can't be educated and you can't be fair and you can't be realistic and you can be human. That's very simple thing. A lot of people tell me, Kawthar, are you feminist? Are you a feminist? And I say, yes, I'm a feminist. Why? Because if you're not a feminist, you're not a human. Simply, you don't need to argue so much.
I
It's
like
common
that.
sense. So I believe that when we talk about women empowerment, we have to empower society in order to create that empowerment for women and for men and for kids and for everyone. And if women are empowered, women empowers everything else.
With woman empowerment, there's society empowerment.
Yeah, you can't deny that. You cannot deny that. Look at us. Who are the women in our life that motivated us and pushed us and cared for us and challenged us and put us in a very bad situation sometimes to make us the women we are today? I think
Beautiful.
it's important.
Beautiful. Right. On this note, I just want to remind everyone, go to Kawthar. Can you say the name of your account?
Kawthar Bin Sulayem official. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, Basically DM me your ideas and I will get my team in touch and we will take it from there. But please work on your presentations. I'm really excited to get this.
So they're gonna DM you on Instagram, but where do they send their presentation? Is there an email? Do you want me to share an email in the caption?
Once they DM me, I'll connect them to. I'll give them an address. I can also share the email address here, and then they can email me the information, and we will take it from there. But initially, let them get in touch with me. I want to get a sense of an initial idea of their project, and based on that, I'll be putting them in touch with my team.
Perfect. Okay, Kawthar. It was, Amjad, really, really nice having you. So much insights. I'm sure there's a great impact after this conversation for whoever's going to watch it. And I am inspired. And I want to say thank you for the woman you are today because, Amjad, you're the
Oh,
example of women supporting women, what woman empowerment is, and like what woman in society needs to look like. Amazing, inspiring, and thank you.
well, Tima, I'm honored to be appearing in your humble show because when I first met you, I've learned so much about how mentally women should be strong. And I think, people forget that you are actually, you know, excuse my language, a badass woman. You climbed Everest. But I'm honored to be on this show. And these are the type of things I want to support and the type of people I want to support. For me, it's not about, again, the numbers, the high followers, and all the quality content and quality engagement is what I look for. So I'm really, really thankful for this opportunity, Tima.
Thank you. And I wish you a great evening and stay safe.
Thank you. Stay safe. And my regards to the family.
We'll do it. كمان. ماشي حبيبي.